Base is dropped on an interesting week for SDH. It is the week where folks might be changing locations, and we'll find out just how many. John here, you there, and I bring in Jarrett because it's a power hour today.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the AM it is. Here's the walk this week. After this show, I'm out until Thursday because I have to be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium wearing makeup and a suit. So when the afternoon comes, set your notifications. Now, set your notifications, period, because there's going to be a lot of taped content. It'll be the news of the day in taped form. It'll be the cast of thousands, the cavalcade of stars, and some guy named Jason will also be a part of this. So it'll be Maddie and Drew and Bart and Jarrett and hopefully Nick, if he survives, and Jason. They're going to be doing tape stuff when we're not live this week because this is a big week when it comes to trades and people changing locations and things like that. So, Jarrett, good morning.
Good morning.
MLS Cup, go. Sorry.
Still not 100%.
Sorry to shock you.
No, it's fine. I'm still not 100%. This has been a slow recovery off of the disabled list. MLS Cup, go.
Get you a couple of innings here and there. We'll get you warmed up for a start.
Yeah, just getting stretched out. Set me down to Gwinnett to get me stretched out 3-4 innings at a time. We'll work our way up, get our pitch count up in the 70s, and see what happens.
Yep.
Hi, it's me, the Ian Anderson of SDH. Jesus. So MLS Cup. Has anybody alerted LAFC that MLS Cup happened?
Yeah, really?
Because all I could ever think about is the Jim McElwain, quote when they beat LSU, and he said, "And it probably should have been worse." And, bruh, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
Because it kind of seemed like, they weren't really interested in going out there. And yeah, they were a little late waking up for that one, and just got dominated for large stretches. Now they get the goal late. It didn't go like how I predicted. I know Nico and I were looking real hard at that +3.5. I was really in love with the idea of a +4.5 and just have like a drunk MLS Cup. But no, instead, you get the 3 goals. You get the late one that it makes it a little dicey.
Yeah, it does.
Columbus actually, and it's a really cool victory for Columbus from my perspective, because it answered. They answered the question that I had of them going into the playoffs, which was, you have a 1-goal lead late. How are you going to see this out? Because you were not good at seeing things out during the season late in games, and they were in that situation and they saw it out. And to me, that is one of the things where if you want to win a title and you want to be a champion, you have to answer that question. That whatever that burning question is about you, you have to answer it. And they answered it. Mm-hmm. And they answered in a damn good way, and they get another trophy. And yeah, man, like Wilfred Nancy's real damn good at his job, right?
Yes. Contributor Niall. Part of me feels like they underestimated Columbus. Kept seeing post-match comments from Chiellini about Cherundolo and about how they're better than Columbus.
Somewhere like Caleb Porter's eye just twitched.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. You can say that until the cows come home, though. We were better than them. We were better on the day, this, that, and the other. In a cup final, it doesn't mean diddly squat, man.
No.
You weren't better than them on the day. You can sit there and say, like, oh, we were a better team. They just had a better day than us. Welcome to cup games.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes cup games fun. That's what makes them drunken, chaotic messes that we all enjoy. Is, all that matters is that day. And I'm sorry, Columbus was a better team. Yeah. Columbus, for me, than LAFC. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make LAFC a bad team.
No.
It means that Columbus is just a better team than them, and personally, like, they're more fun to watch. But that's a
Yeah.
matter of opinion. That's a matter of taste, because there are plenty of people, I'm sure, who love what LAFC does, where it's a more defensive and counter, and we're going to find our spaces.
But how many folks want the old LAFC back?
I actually haven't seen much of that because they made a cup final. Because here's the thing, it usually, when you're winning, it cures a lot of ills. Now, if LAFC scuffles out the gate in 24 with this, which, look, LAFC's got questions to answer after this, man.
They do.
Because Chiellini is not getting any younger.
He's 35, man.
He is imparting his wisdom like one of the Sith Lords of old. He has set up for himself a nice little Sith academy on Korriban and the remnants of the old Sith temples. And he is passing down his knowledge like Exar Kun. But I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. Carlos Vela, for a long stretch of time in that game, the most notable thing he did was tackle Diego Rossi, and then we watched Diego Rossi go full Neymar on the crocodile death roll.
Yes.
And I mean, there's already been talk about, is Boyanka going to stay? Is he going to cash in on this season he's had and try and go back to Europe? Which, hey man, that's a thing that can happen. Like, so how does LAFC build into the next era with what they have with Trundolo?
Yeah. So here are the questions for LAFC. Mario Duenas Traore, Julian Gaines, John McCarthy at backup keeper, Tony Leone, who's a U22, Christian Torres, who's a U22. Jakupovic, Chiellini is out of contract when the match. Up in short order. That's a lot of dudes. That is half of your roster that you got to figure out coming up in short order. And then you're looking at, in 24 at the end of next year, you're looking at Aaron So, that's what you're looking at, half the roster possibly that you got to pick up when you're talking about LAFC coming up.
Yeah, you do. And you have to, like I said, you got to figure out how you want to build it going forward. And, man, if they, I think if they scuffle out of the gates in 24 and it's not as exciting and they're not scoring a bunch of goals, yeah, maybe you get that and maybe you don't. I mean, what happened in Atlanta might be a more unique situation. But Trundle also got them to 3 cup finals. And yeah, we're going to count Campeones Cup because we count it here. Everyone counts Campeones Cup. You can call it. You can kind of like throw the thumbs down on it if you want to, but we threw the thumbs up on it here because it was a street fight back in 2019.
Yes.
Yeah, we count Campeones Cup. Absolutely, man. Everybody, if you're in Campeones Cup, and you know what, Columbus will count it next year, as they damn well should.
Yeah.
They made 3 cup finals this year, LAFC did, and they did not win any of them. And they were demonstrably worse after each one, and it was very weird.
Yes.
I want to see how they address that. I want to see how they build this out after that, because there's still plenty of potential for them to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Columbus has some questions to answer too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I keep waiting to see if somebody from Europe's going to call Cucho Hernandez, but I don't know. Maybe they won't.
Let's take a peek at the Columbus contract situations. We'll call it a plural because I would imagine that there's more than one dude that they got to keep an eye on here. You hit the detailed button on Transfermarkt, and then that's when it answers. All right. So, looking at the end of the calendar year decisions, you got to keep an eye on Gressel's deal because I think there's an option. Same with Rossi with an option. Molino, Matan, Schulte, Josh Williams options. End of the calendar year. Evan Bush, Rudy Camacho, Steven Moreira, who came up big for them at the back. Jimmy Madranda, Brady Scott, Will Sands, who's currently injured, Jake Morris, Vallecilla, Zawatsky, Parente, Quintone, and Mo Farsi. That's what you're staring at for immediate decisions. It looks like, I mean, it'll make sense for them to pick up options, but it's some of the pieces that you've got to make decisions on. You've got to make a decision on Farsi, Zawatsky, Moreira, and Camacho more than anything else, and checking your option years with other folks. So decent decisions that have to be made by Columbus, but not as big name / impactful as you would with LAFC. Michael Valverde, fun, is not in LAFC's current state, in his humble opinion. And you're not wrong, Michael. They're not.
No, they're you can have fun with it. They're not as like explosive and high flying and chaotic and feeling as dangerous in every moment as a Columbus is.
Mm-hmm.
Or even an Atlanta is when they're clicking, especially in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
But they're operating on a different level. Like we said, like Columbus is sitting, or LAFC is sitting back more. They are absorbing the game, and they're fine with 30% possession and trying to make something happen. And it's a shift with them, and we'll see how they manage it going forward. Because, like I said, I mean, this is, and I have the same questions about teams like Nashville, that when you're not winning consistently with it, what's the reaction to it going to be? And we saw that with Nashville this year, when Hani Mukhtar was not dragging Nashville through games. And buddy, he was. I mean, we talked about it ad nauseum. Maybe the most one-player dependent team in the league this year.
Yeah.
When he wasn't doing that, I mean, yeah, you started to like, look, that stadium wasn't filled up. It was not at capacity. When you're not, when you're playing that style and it's not paying off in wins, and it can get weird. That is what it is. And then if Darlington comes back, Colorado's going to be the team to beat. Columbus is going to be the team to beat in 2024. I don't know why I said Colorado. Yeah, man. And I still have the questions with Darlington of
how much more does he want to play?
Man, that is actually a very interesting question because I don't know.
And it's how we have to phrase it with Darlington, because he's a different cat.
He is. Darlington is an odd animal. He's 33 years old, so I think he got a couple years left in him at least, if he wants it, especially if he's got Aiden Morris next to him. That'll be a question, is somebody from Europe's going to come calling for Aiden Morris if they know what's good for them.
Yeah.
Because Aiden Morris, I think, is an incredibly fun player.
Mm-hmm. As long as he can fall down and try to do a Philadelphia Union impression.
Hey, man, maybe Jim Curtin comes calling for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like of all, if you asked me like, hey, who's a player who's just gonna like pull an Andrew Luck and like walk away and go live his life? Oh, it's Darlington. Darlington would be my pick to do it. He's got 2 or 3 kids, I think. Mm-hmm. He is very much like the end of Street Fighter, go home, be a family man. Yeah, Darlington will pull that in a heartbeat. Because he's got 4 rings now.
Mm-hmm. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, he's got 4 rings, and like I said, I could see him going for like 3, 4 more years if he wanted to. It's just a matter if he wants to.
If he wanted to,
and he'll start. And I think we're starting to see him drop off a little bit. Not to say he's bad, but it's like he doesn't put in those like masterclass games, game in and game out anymore. Like they'll have a game here or there where it's not as perfect.
Yeah, and
that's fine. Because he's even when he's not at his best, he's still really, really, really damn good.
84 minutes, 64 touches, 51 of 53 in passing, 96%. 2 key passes. He connected on his 1 long ball. 7 of 8 on the ground duels, and he won his 1 aerial. So 8 of 9 in duels on the day. fouled 6 times, a clearance, a pick, and a tackle. That's Darlington Nagbe. And they say a SofaScore calls that a 7.2. I find that odd.
Well, but we've talked about this for years, is that position, that role is so under. I don't know, man. It's like it's always even when we appreciate it, it still feels underappreciated, and we try and make recognition for it. It still feels very underappreciated.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, I think, in sports that it's hard to like register. It's hard to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to kind of figure out and to know how to score it and how to grade it. Like we're never really sure how to grade those, because there's so much of, well, he does like simple things, but as I've preached before, the simple things are simple until they stop being done, and then it becomes a very unsimple problem, and it becomes very bad.
Yes.
But he does the simple things well, and he does his job in such like a simple, calm, collected way.
Yeah. Michael Valverde, if there was a perfect moment to retire, it might be now. Got 4 rings and 1 for his home state. Darlington could walk away as one of the best MLS players ever.
Oh, he's already in that conversation. Absolutely. And it's the like thing is, like, I could see him deciding like, I'm good. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home and be a family man. But I mean, but as long as he's enjoying it, he's gonna do his damn thing, man. Mm-hmm. So
yes, exactly. So, we keep an eye on Darlington Nagbe. And we mentioned today being the opening of the trade window.
By the way, he's signed through 2025 with an option for another year.
Yes.
So, I mean, I could also, like, when I say like, you get a couple more years, could absolutely see him like just finishing out that contract and being like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So once again, remember, trade window is opened at the top of the show, 5 minutes before the show started, actually. So trade window's open. Free agency starts on Wednesday. We'll have you covered all the way through. Live this morning, Power Hour, taped today in the afternoon. So set your notifications. Tapes tomorrow morning and afternoon. Tapes Wednesday morning and afternoon. Back live Thursday for a Power Hour, on tape in the afternoon. Back live Friday from Washington, D.C., taped in the afternoon. So we're going to be all over the place here this week, keeping you covered on everything. And you mentioned interest of folks. Mike McGrath over at the Telegraph. Brentford are in the market for a striker, and this, with Prem and Proper coming up in about 12 minutes. Brentford are in the market for a striker in the January window, even if Ivan Toney stays at the club when his gambling ban is over.
I was about to say, how much you want to bet on that, but then you just, that's low-hanging fruit. Carry on.
Yeah, how much you want to bet, yes. With United States international Brandon Vasquez among the forwards on the radar. Brandon Vasquez is on Thomas Frank's radar when it comes to the January window. Little interest in selling Ivan Toney, with Brian Mbumo and Yohan Avisa heading to AFCON, leaving Frank short on attacking options if they leave. Lost 4 of their last 5. Brandon Vasquez on Thomas Frank's radar at Brentford.
Well, Brandon Vasquez has been wanting to go to Europe. That's kind of been like a terribly kept secret for, like a year now. Like I think he wanted to go last year when he had his breakout in 2022. And 2023 wasn't as dominant for him, but it worked all the same because Cincinnati made an Eastern Conference final, and not necessarily because of him. Spit the bit against this Columbus team. Good job, good effort, Cincinnati.
Good work.
It seems like Brandon does want to go and apply his trade in Europe, and I think some of the comments out of Cincinnati in the last week or so, or 2 weeks, were kind of indicative of he's expecting to go. We'll see if he does and see if he gets. And I think it's the same question that we talk about with Thiago Almada. Is the money right? And you're hoping for the player that the fit is right, because this isn't FIFA where oh man, I'm going to sell this guy to, whatever club comes in with the most money. Like, you want to make sure it's a good fit for them to thrive as well. And that's important for the player and agent and the club that he's going from to understand as well. And they'll do that. They know their jobs. They're not amateurs in this field. So, yeah, Brandon's done. I think he's done all he can to make that jump that he's been wanting to make.
Yeah. And so you're staring at that as a possible idea coming up. So plenty to play with here this morning. We'll go through it all coming up in just a little bit. But Jarrett, what was going on with Celtic this weekend that was drawing your ire?
Oh, just in general.
Okay.
Their existence. Brendan Rodgers' existence.
Okay.
The fact that he took a team that was really fun and really good and made them the exact opposite of that.
Kind of like LAFC.
Man, they're so like, it's just so plotting. And then it gets scared. They lost to Kilmarnock. And it's always kind of newsworthy when an old firm team loses. They lost to Kilmarnock at Rugby Park, and they had a lead, and then gave up 2 goals in the last 20 minutes, give or take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, but it was like, it's the way they played. Like, they started pumping long balls. They started looking scared. And you're talking about a team with over a $50 million wage budget going up against Kilmarnock, who probably is spending less than $10 million on their entire club's wages.
Yep.
And I might be being generous at $10 million.
True.
They looked scared. They looked like they didn't want anything to do. They don't look like they have anything to do with what Kilmarnock was doing when they were pressing them. And yeah, it's very annoying having watched Ange for a couple years and being lots of fun and playing on the front and not been going for the throat constantly, even at your own detriment sometimes, which Spurs fans can attest to now that they've experienced the highs and lows of that, even though they got the highs this week because Spurs just beat the dog out of Newcastle.
Yep, and we'll talk to Maddie about that because she's our resident Newcastleian along with Alex.
Sorry, Alex.
Sorry, Maddie.
Yeah. Sorry, Alex. It's just a knee-jerk reaction.
Oh, it is absolutely. You're absolutely true.
But yeah, you caught the Ange weapon has multiple ends, and it has multiple weapons on those ends, and some of them are self-inflicting wounds, and some of them are lacerating wounds for the person on the other end. It just depends on what end of the weapon you catch on any given day, because he is a zealot about what he believes. But yeah, it's tough watching Brendan Rodgers take a team that spends that much money that just looks like they're kind of scared, and they have if Rangers wins their game in hand, they'll have Celtic will have a 2-point lead in that league. They had an 8-point lead. They have shipped 6 points on their lead. They already are out of one of their competitions.
Oh boy.
They are out of Europe after just getting hammered all over Europe. They're not fun to watch.
No, they're not. Tell you what,
Matt O'Reilly is the only bright spot in life, and it's just very. Look, they went with the old boys club, and they brought back the devil they know.
Yep, they did.
And I am eternally upset that they brought back the devil they know. When you, like I've said before, when you are that kind of club, when you are the big dog in your league, you should be going and hiring someone with insane ideas, with risk. You should be hiring Ange. You should be hiring a Ronnie Dyla when you did. Someone who might be clinically insane. And that's okay to hire those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Because you're outspending everyone in your league 10-1.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to win most times anyway. You might as well get weird with it.
Yes. So Drew and Maddie are now here a part of the four-way dance as we take a peek at the Fatal Four-Way with Prem and Proper, the review. And I know that Drew has said that he can only do a hit and run. So do we just want to defer the floor and have him discuss what's going on with Bournemouth whacking Manchester United 3-0?
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
I think we should.
All right. Since you're a hit and run here this morning, Drew. Okay. Bournemouth 3, Man U 0. Go.
I mean, there's so much to take out of this, but we'll just hit it quick and we'll hit it easy. I want to start with Bruno Fernandes and Scott McTominay. First with McTominay, and I think we can all agree, if he's not scoring goals, can somebody help me understand what it is that he provides on the field for United? With him and Bruno playing so high in the team banking, I mean, you can see the style of play. It's find McTominay, wherever Scott is, find Scott. And with Bruno and McTominay playing so high, you just see Amrabat and Maguire on an island all by themselves, that midfield just so wide open. And Solanke and, Bournemouth, the entire team broke the press so easily. And just anytime United gave the ball away, Bournemouth were so fluid down the middle of the field. And, I'm not on this, Eric Ten Hag out thing, because first and foremost, who's going to come in other than another interim manager? But I will say this. Yesterday, when it was clear and obvious that the Luke Shaw and Sergio Reguilon project on the left side, it wasn't working. You're a manager. You have to notice these sort of things. I mean, hello, Rafael Varane is on the bench. Even Johnny Evans is there on the bench. And, it's the exact same sort of lapse of judgment from Ten Hag. Bruno, who is notorious for whining and moaning, that game was out of hand. He should have been taken out with the rest of the cavalry. Now, Bruno's got to miss the Liverpool game on Sunday. It stacks up. And this is Bournemouth's first win at Old Trafford in like 60 years. It's like all these teams come to everything or come to Old Trafford and play a World Cup game. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's shocking. There was a good piece of news that come out this morning. Casemiro back on the grass training, whatever that means. That's got to be a little boost for that United midfield going forward. It's a never-ending saga with the selfishness and the lack of finishing. Perfect example. We all saw Diogo Dalot take the right side, cut it in the inside, and he decided to go for a near impossible near post shot when the Wonder Kid was on the 6, ready to get his first Premier League goal. That would have made it 1-1. And I think the tides of that game could have completely flipped into the favor of United, who, mind you, were absolutely dominating that game. I think it was like 78% possession in favor of United.
What you do with it when you got it, brother. It ain't just because you got the ball 80% of the time, and if Bournemouth is scoring, they can just sit there and go, you know what? When's the movie over? Yeah.
Exactly.
The movie's over what? The movie's over in a good, 30 minutes. All right. So we'll just kind of sit here and have popcorn and we're good to go. It's like, bro, you had to do all the work.
Yep. And it's week in and week out, just whether they're in the wrong position or typical. What I think ruins the attack for United every time, whether it's Anthony who stops at the 18 and wants to go back, or it's you get in there, Garnacho will put a cross in the box, and there's nobody there. There's nobody there, and it's a broken record, but it's like a never-ending cycle for United. And you got Bayern Munich at home tomorrow in the Champions League in an absolute must-win game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And of course, the big one on the weekend at Liverpool away without Bruno. So I'm very, very excited to see what tactical purposes he has for this lineup on Sunday at Anfield. I can't call it tomorrow. I obviously don't expect Bayern to put out their A squad, but what do they have to lose? I mean, I don't know. I can't call tomorrow.
Maddie, Newcastle.
Bayern also got shelled this weekend, by the way.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And I can give you the answer on Scott McTominay. There is a shaman somewhere in the highlands of Scotland who, with the eye of a raven and the hair of a virgin, has harnessed all of Scott McTominay's power just to help the Scottish national team get to Euro 2024, which succeeded. But it is at the expense of Scott McTominay's club form, because it's not the same human being, I swear to God.
No, it's not.
Not
Matt,
at all. Couldn't agree more.
Maddie, Newcastle, rough day. Go.
I don't want to talk about it. Listen, I said it in Prem and Proper. I said it in the thing. I was like, we lost to Everton. We got to come into the Spurs. We're playing away again. Are we gonna capitalize? Are we gonna do it? The answer is no. We didn't do it. We flubbed the gun. We sat there and we just let them score. Did nothing. But that's also because our beautiful head coach has decided to play the same 10 men since the beginning of the season and hasn't switched out anybody. And what do you think's going to happen? Burnout. They're going to get tired. They're going to look fatigued. He literally said at the end of the Spurs games, oh, they all look fatigued. Yeah, I wonder why. Because they've all been playing like 90 plus minutes since the beginning of the freaking season.
Oh, boy.
So that's annoying to me. It really made me upset. I watched it and then I got like towards the end and I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I'm torturing myself. And now we're out Trippier. Trippier's out for the next game because he got yellow card suspension. So now he's even out, but also too against the Everton game, he didn't play good either. He played really bad. Literally was the reason Everton got those 2 goals. And also that, and then you also mentioned Champions League. We're playing against AC Milan on Wednesday. We're going to lose. If we win, I'll be really happy, but we're not going to win because I also do follow AC Milan and I just know they're going to beat us. So it's a lose-lose situation. I'm hoping that this weekend we can pull something out, but I really just don't know. I don't know anymore. That's it.
So Jarrett, we have Drew with his Manchester Unitedness. We have Maddie, and sorry Alex with Newcastle playing the same damn lineup ever since I don't know, July when they were here in summer series or whenever.
I'm just glad Dad had a good day this weekend. He needed it. He needed it over for Spurs, and Dad, just come home, come back north. I'll trade you Brendan Rodgers. You can send him back to Spurs.
Wow.
I don't care. Just bring Dad home.
Oh, you don't.
Just bring my angry Australian father back home, please.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. But you're going to get the ups and downs with Spurs and Manchester City. By the way, since we are in Prem and Proper the review, Maddie, Drew, Jarrett, and yours truly, Manchester City. They go to Kenilworth Road. No Erling Haaland. They go down 1-0. And then the alarm clock went off, and Julian Alvarez basically went there and went bang, all right, and then knocked the alarm clock off of the end table, and they finally woke up and got the Duke. And everybody is still, Drew, kicking dirt on Manchester City.
I'm not going to kick dirt on City. I don't want to make excuses for teams, especially the crosstown rival. But how many games have they played in the last calendar year?
11 billion.
Where some of this stuff is, no matter how great of a tactical genius Pep is, no matter how great of 2 starting lineups he can field from that squad. I mean, sometimes things just catch up onto you. And listen, this is the Premier League. It's any given Saturday, any given Sunday, or, last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it was all week long. But Luton Town, I remember at the beginning of the season, John, I said I would predicted them to be, they're still in the bottom 3, even though it's penciled in. Look out. I think this is I think the second half of the season could spell good news for them. And I'm not worried about City. I'm really not. I mean, I'm sure the fans are, but I give them a Christmas break and give them 2024. Because look, it's not Christmas yet. So Arsenal still have their chance to bottle it. So we have that to look forward to.
So Maddie, he's anticipating the traditional Arsenaling. Is there a Clemsoning version for Arsenal?
It's called being the Falcons of England, John.
Hey, there you go.
Yes, that is true. So I guess this will be the question to the floor. So are we going to anticipate that Arsenal, Maddie, ladies first, since we believe in chivalry here on the show, are we going to anticipate that Arsenal is going to have that fade sooner or later?
I mean, I think it could go either way. I really think that they could, surprise us and we get to the end and then, they manage to, keep it going. We're all like, whoa, how did that happen?
Mikel Arteta is Arthur Smith. Oh, no.
Yeah, we all are just like, how did you do that? Like, I I don't know. I mean, looking at it, they're second. I mean, they came down, obviously. They lost to Aston Villa, and then, this weekend too. It's just, I don't know. I could see it going either way, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they just completely, no one is happy. That is true. Honestly, Aston Villa's having the time of their life, to say the least. They are going.
When Unai Emery leaves Arsenal, this is what happens. Unai Emery goes to La Liga, then he comes back and they give him a different gig. Ricky Ricardo says it sounds like no one's having fun but Aston Villa, and that is true. So Jared has already proposed that Arthur Smith in the form of Mikel Arteta in the form of Arthur Smith is going to have some kind of falconing going on. Drew, I know that you put your Manchester Unitedness to the side.
Yeah, take my hat off.
Take your hat off. Take the shiny pointy tinfoil hat and put it over here. Do you anticipate Mikel Arteta turning into Arthur Smith at some point this season?
I mean, listen, they've won 2 out of the last 3. You had your 2-1 victory over Wolves that took a last-minute thriller. You had a 4-3 victory over a Luton Town at the bottom of the table, and you lose a top 4 matchup to Aston Villa this past weekend. I mean, isn't it already kind of starting? He's going to the media more and more. When he starts crying in the media, that's when things start to go down a little bit for Arsenal. And look, it's Christmas is right around the corner. So yeah, I think it's starting right now.
Jarrett, apparently for Chelsea, the decision to fix the problem is to just spend more money. I know that shocks you.
Isn't that that's been the answer to their problem since time immemorial, basically?
Yeah,
it's like Todd
thing. I read that and I was like, isn't that why they're in this mess?
Exactly what Pochettino said.
Todd Bowley got the reins at Chelsea and went, well, we've been spending all this money and it's not working. We're going to keep doing that. Because if you dig the hole deep enough, you make it through the mantle of the earth, the outer core, the inner core, a giant ball of burning molten nickel. Then you hit the outer core again, the mantle again. Then you hit the crust and you come up somewhere in Asia. You will find the surface again eventually because everything is circular, man. It's a sphere. You just keep on going straight through like it's a horror movie, and you come out the other side. And for Chelsea, the other side maybe is, I don't know, man. I like to think that the other side involves, give me some sort of weird joy where everybody catches fire, and we go through, even if it's 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks in February or March, where Chelsea is like, where we can sit here and go, you know what? There's a path for Chelsea to have to fight for relegation.
Well, I mean, right now, if we look at the table, they're at the top of the second half. Well, actually, they're not. They dropped this weekend. They're 12th.
They're 12th.
They are 12th.
They have lost 3 of their last 5.
They are 12th, kids. They are 6 points. Well, I mean, they're 10 points away from relegation. But, I mean, Everton, without their 10-point deduction, Everton, by the way, would be in 10th. Chelsea would be in 13th. And the only thing keeping Chelsea, in that middle group at 19 points, actually, there's 4 teams at 19 points, is goal difference. Brentford, Chelsea, Wolves, and Bournemouth, all at 19 points. So, but yes, apparently Todd Bowley's going to spend more money.
Everyone they grab is just, it's almost like there was an evil spell put on them, because everyone they could grab a really good player and it just doesn't work. And Pochettino's like probably just, I imagine he's like ends his games just staring off into the middle distance.
Yes.
Well, we heard that Bowley wants to break the transfer record for Osimhen from Napoli in January.
Yeah.
And you got Nkunku coming back. I mean, you can't buy, you can't just go out and buy all these players just because they're good and they're young and think that the coach can make it work. We talked about it a few days ago.
But you could because you can.
It's not FIFA. You can't just, this isn't Ultimate Team. You can't just throw players on the field. Hell, man, domestically, LAFC learned that last year when they tried to shoehorn Vela and Bale and Chiellini and Boyanga all on the field at the exact same time, and it just didn't work. You had to figure out the right balance. This is an Ultimate Team. It's not a video game.
No.
And Pochettino is a great manager, but he's not God.
Well, not yet anyway. Drew, I know that you've got a jet. Any last words with what's going on in your head after this past weekend?
Yes. All the United fans, all the United faithful who are watching, who are listening, just keep having faith. It's a big cliche, but Rome wasn't built in a day. if you watch that starting 11 yesterday, I think 4, maybe 5 of them were Ten Hag players. Let the manager get his full starting 11 in. It's a project, Ask Mourinho. The greatest accomplishment of his career was finishing second with Manchester United. So with Ineos probably coming in, I'm expecting sometime within the new year. Let's see what Ratcliffe can do. Let's see what he provides tonight. Even if he we don't know. We just don't know yet. There's so much hanging in the balance with United, and pretty much that's always seems to be the case. But let Ratcliffe come in, let him bring in his his crew, and let's see what they can do. I'm skeptical, but I'll be optimistic as well, so we'll see.
All right, so that's Drew. Drew will be drifting through this week as well because we'll have a lot of stuff on tape, but then obviously Maddie and Drew will have Prem and Proper coming up on Friday. Be good, my friend, and apologies to the Manchester United side of you, but those of us who enjoy the little guy taking a bite every once in a while, it was fun to see. I know that you've been banging your head against a wall. We'll catch up with you later in the week, my friend.
All right, John, we'll see you tonight at the Benz.
There you go. There's Drew. Drew Dickens.
Well, it's like watching FCS versus FBS football, John.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to see an FCS team come up and bite an FBS team, unless it's your team or a G5 team.
Like when Georgia Southern beat Florida in the swamp, and you had
passing the football, yes. Or when Nicholls State almost beat Kirby in his second year at UGA.
Yeah.
And then Kirby went on to win 2 titles.
Yeah.
Everyone loves those kinds of App State, Michigan 2007, everyone's on ketamine kind of things. But you just don't love it when it's you.
No. Maddie, what's up?
And as the Georgia fan here, no shade on Kirby Smart's name. Love that man.
Well, but the thing, you and Jason will be writing that. You will be writing the front of that.
I have nothing bad to say about Kirby. I have so many questions for the committee because if you're going to the committee just used their last year to do some weird stuff, because if you're going to tell me you're taking the 4 best teams, I still think that's one of the 4 best teams in the country.
Listen,
you had a mash unit of a receiving core that lost by 3 points to Alabama.
Yeah.
I could go on a full tangent about everything that happened in it's fine.
That's what the college football show is for, that we tape on Sundays. That's what that one's for.
I'm sorry.
Nothing wrong with that. We always do college football down here anyway. It's all good.
I'm just happy my large adult son won the Heisman on his way to eventually becoming the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh boy, Jaden Daniels. We figured. Come on now. You figured that Knicks and P-Knicks were going to have the vote split out on the western half of the Mississippi. You figured that was going to happen, didn't you?
Yeah, and honestly, the vote breakdown would have been very interesting to see if the Pac-12 title game goes differently. If Bo Nix drags Oregon to a Pac-12 title, how does that vote differ? Because it was a pretty damn close vote.
I'm sure Florida State would have still been screwed anyway.
Yes. This is okay. This is kind of a magical thing for Florida State, because you've magically turned yourselves into the darlings of college football, who everyone is cheering for now, and you don't really have to do you have been wronged by the college football gods, and you don't have to do anything about it. You're kind of sitting here man, you got wronged, and there's no way you can correct it. It's not like we can just. It's not like you can cash in Money in the Bank here, man.
So then, who do we play next game? Who do we play in the Orange Bowl?
You play one of 2 teams. You either are about to play an incredibly pissed off Georgia or an incredibly disinterested Georgia.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So here's what I would propose, Maddie. Here's what I proposed for Florida State in this game. Run every down. Literally, even on 4th down, and you're at your own 27, run. Yeah, just run the ball, and if you don't get the first down, you don't get the first down. Georgia gets the ball 1st and 10 at your 27. They score. Make it 98-0. And Norvell goes and wanders over to the Georgia sideline. He just stands next to Kirby, and they just kind of laugh the whole time. Norvell's like, yeah, we're just going to run the ball. We're just going to do it the whole time. Yeah. And I'll tell you the play. And 98-0, Georgia wins. And then in the in-game interview, Norvell and Kirby both sit there and say, I could give a blankety blank about the Orange Bowl right now. Do that on the air. On the air. Do that on the air. But yeah, 98-0. Just, Florida State comes in. It's like, yeah, we're here. We're here so we didn't get fined. That's what I want out of the whole thing. Yeah, Abby, the Orange Bowl presser was canceled. Apparently it had to do with just scheduling. It wasn't like, Norvell and Kirby like not wanting to do it or anything. Literally, it was because of everything else going on the planet, and they just couldn't make it. No, the season doesn't matter. It is. We had this discussion on the college football show, and I'm going to rub my forehead here because it's it's like one of those scanners moments. Look up that movie on IMDb. Think of it this way. You're programming a 3-episode miniseries on television. You want Rachel kissing Ross after they watch the prom VHS. You want Who Shot JR. You want Jarrett, give me another one. Give me another quality TV moment that you want. Rebecca coming clean to Ted Lasso. You want that.
The entire episode of Ozymandias of Breaking Bad.
Okay, so
Jimmy in the courtroom in the ultimate episode of Better Call Saul.
Right.
You want the payoff.
Yeah, so you want the payoff in a 3-episode miniseries. So what kind of a payoff do you get if you have Michigan as the number 1 team and you're going up against a team you don't know if you're going to have the second-string quarterback who's coming out of concussion protocol or the third-string quarterback who's a true freshman? Tell me that's like when Joey admitted he had feelings for Rachel in like season 7. You're running out of ideas. That's what you don't want in a 3-episode miniseries. That's Florida State and Michigan. Michigan, Alabama, on the other hand, is Who Shot JR. It's Rachel kissing Ross. Those kinds of things. Rachel saying, I didn't get on the, I got off the plane. That's what you're getting there with that matchup, Maddie. That's what you get with 1-4 and Washington and Texas. They'll play for 4 hours, and you're trying to submit a mini series. That's what you're doing. You're building a mini series. It's not a game. It is a television product.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I honestly think I'm only going to watch it solely because, and I'm not even upset that Alabama's in it. Alabama deserved to be in it. They beat us. They beat us. And I ranted about this a week ago when it happened. I ranted about it already. I'm not going to go into it again, but I am a person that likes to look at things logically, or I try to.
That's your first problem.
I try to. Okay. But Alabama, they beat us. They were going to be in the top 4. I just didn't know how it was going to pan out. But I will say, I am excited to watch Alabama destroy Michigan.
What's that coming down the track?
Whoa! Pat McAfee really played with my emotions during that. He did it, and then I was like,
"Oh, absolutely!"
I was flabbergasted.
Everybody got taken. Ricky, John, it isn't a payoff. This is Cersei Lannister getting to die a death that was much less painful than she deserved. I didn't see the show. I'll take Ricky at his word. Abby says, I will not watch any playoff college football games. I'll watch all the bowl games. That much I will do.
Bowl games I will watch. 100%.
I will watch bowl
games. We're gonna watch the degenerate bowls in the middle of December. They're
absolutely
2, 7, and 5 teams that are basically taking part in a knife fight in the dark.
Yeah, I mean, and the get-in price right now for the Independence Bowl, the Poulan Weed Eater, whoever Radiance Technologies, get-in price $14 to get into Shreveport, Louisiana, to watch Cal and Texas Tech in front of tens of people. But we will watch because it is part of a series.
Listen,
presented that way.
I am gonna be in my seat watching Liberty versus Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl because Liberty is a Conference USA, and that's where Kennesaw State's going to be next year. Listen, I have faith in Liberty. Liberty can do it.
I don't even want to think about next year in Conference USA.
Liberty's going to get killed.
Liberty's going to get killed. But
Jamie Chadwell's going to get another job in the next 2 years, and God, just get my insane son out of Virginia, please.
Why don't they just change? Why don't the Big Ten and Conference USA just switch names? Literally, because when Kennesaw joins Conference USA, you'll have 10 teams. You guys should just be the Big Ten, And since the Big Ten goes from one coast to the other, they should just become the Conference USA. I mean, that literally I makes sense to me. I mean, I get branding and everything. I know it's like you go to KFC and you end up with a chicken sandwich. I know, I get it. But that's just that's where we are. Abby's going to watch bowl games, but not the playoffs. Yeah, Abby and I have the shared angst involving the team from Tallahassee.
I have been chasing the high of the 2004 Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, which was Western Kentucky and Central Michigan.
That was fantastic television.
That was Central Michigan executing a Hail Mary with double lateral on the final play of the game, down 7 points, scoring on that last play, then going for 2 for the win instead of going to overtime and throwing the worst corner fade you've ever seen in your life. And I've been chasing that high ever since.
It's like, what, 44-43? And by the way, the Bahamas Bowl this year
49-48. And the legendary god himself, Cooper Rush.
Yes. And by the way, the Bahamas Bowl, because of construction that was not completed to Eugene Robinson Stadium, is now being played on the University of Charlotte campus this year, and they've got a different sponsor. So that has changed.
Played at Coastal with the teal field that is just
that's the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Myrtle Beach Bowl is getting played there. All right, so Fulham put 5 on West Ham. We've already talked about others. Liverpool has put Roy Hodgson probably on job life support, winning 2-1. Brighton and Burnley 1-1 draw. Sheffield United got a big win against Brentford. Big win for Chris Wilder. Wolves and Nottingham Forest a 1-1 draw. I don't know if that saves Steve Cooper. Villa 1-0 over Arsenal, and so we get to catch. And so that is what happened this past weekend. Maddie, any other thoughts on what happened in Prem and Proper?
I mean, it was a weird week, especially coming from like the double week. You had the midweek stuff, and then you also had
3 games in 7 days.
Like I anticipated that this weekend would either be 2 ways. We would see teams that would come up, rise from the ashes, which is what we did. We saw Sheffield United. They came in, beat Brentford. We got the Wolves and Nottingham Forest tie. You also had Bournemouth beating Man United. You got to see the underdogs kind of come up and get some points there. You also saw a little bit of you just saw some burnout in a lot of these teams that you really shouldn't see. And I expected it to be that way just because normally when that happens, stuff like that happens. But overall, I thought it was a really good match day. I was very shocked and excited to see that Everton beat Chelsea. That was, I think, the game for me this week. It was because listen, they got deducted the 10 points, and we talked about it all Prem and Proper long talking about it. But I mean, they beat Newcastle, then they went on to beat Chelsea, and it seems like they're kind of trying to find their stride a little bit, but we'll see if that continues.
All right.
I'm excited.
All right, so David, on the final college football word, Bama was poop against Auburn, had several other games where they were garbage for 3 quarters, had maybe 2 complete games all year. Yes, they likely are a better test for Michigan. Didn't deserve it more than FSU, who beat 2 SEC teams out of conference. David, as the Florida State alum on this show, I will agree with you, but once again, I will stipulate that this is a television product that is not a college football game. So that's why you ended up with Alabama and Michigan and Washington and Texas. Jarrett, last thoughts on Prem and Proper?
I'm always waiting for the shoe to drop on Arsenal. For better or worse, I'm always waiting for it to happen, and it's just the question just becomes, how painful will it be? Mm-hmm. Not painful if it happens. How painful will it be? And is Liverpool just kind of quietly chilling out with that one spot, just like, hey, there's a lot of chaos going around. What if we just keep our head? What if we're just the kids in study hall who keep our heads down and catch up on homework while everyone else is making paper airplanes and getting high off formaldehyde?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's what you're staring at. No movement right now, rumored or otherwise, going on in Major League Soccer.
Everyone just excited, wow. Columbus played aesthetically pleasing football. What if that catches on? Yeah, what if it catches on? What if I don't have to watch everybody play, hard press and bunker and counter for the rest of my days?
Yes, absolutely.
God,
yes. So once again, the rest of the week, Maddie, Jarrett, Nick, Bart, Drew. If we're not live, they're on tape. So later today, tape. Tuesday, Wednesday, AM, PM on tape. I'm back on Thursday morning live for a power hour. Thursday afternoon is on tape. I'm live from Washington, D.C. on Friday. Friday afternoon is tape because this is a big week when it comes to stuff here in Major League Soccer. And so let me go through what else is going on, what to watch today. And we'll see if anybody's ideas are changed. Men's College Cup Finals at 6, Clemson, Notre Dame. Fox Soccer Plus is doing a King Cup for a league that we don't promote or talk about. And Serie A Femenina is at noon. FS2 does more of the King Cup in that country for the games we don't talk about. Deportes. La Liga, 3 o'clock. Vallecano, Celta de Vigo. Fox Deportes is your simulcast for the league we don't talk about. Goal TV, Portuguese Primeras at 3:15. You can get that on Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You can get you can get Goal TV, Teise, For the Fans, CDO, all the BNs, Brasileiro, all those competitions there. Jason got me hooked. I blame him. League One at 3 o'clock, Portsmouth and Bolton. La Liga simulcast on the Plus, 2 Serie A matches back-to-back on Paramount Plus. That is your look at what to watch today. And that's a show, kids. So, yes, schedule's supposed to come out Friday. Keep your fingers crossed. And Darlington Nagby got his 4th MLS Cup. Women's Gold Cup tonight, 7 on Golasso. Thank you, Bart. Thank you for that as well. Nicely done. So, once again, everybody's going to be filling in this week. We got news. We got stuff. There's stuff to talk about. We'll be doing it on tape if we're not live. So, there you go. Set your notifications when we're up and running. Let's see. Maddie, we'll let you do this. Okay, so since it is the end of the show, we have our traditional endings. So
Okay.
I will let you do the ending and send us away for the AM side on Monday. Keep an eye on free agency, folks. Maddie, go for it.
Oh goodness. Am I just closing it out?
Yes, you're closing out the show.
Okay. Listen, I was nervous. You put me on the spot.
That's the idea.
Oh, alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Tune in later on today. I'll be doing the PM show today, giving you some updates on what's going on in all of soccer. So stay tuned.
What she said, Jarrett, send us home.
Oh, fine. Mucho obrigado.
Play it safe, everybody. We'll see you later today.